Good morning, one and all. On behalf of Mohammad Satak, AJ Academy of Architecture, I welcome Professor Mohammad Harris, Dean and Advisor, Professor Mohammad Idris, Principal, Professor Satish Kumar, HOD and Convener, Professor Miran Sammat, Design Chair, my fellow architects, faculties, and students to the annual lecture series 2021 of Mohammad Satak, AJ Academy of Architecture. This session will be moderated by Architect Sindhu and Architect Tarika. Our guest for today's session is urban conservation architect Pratyaksha Krishna Prasad, founder of the Heritage Art Collective, which is Bespoken Art, Cultural, Heritage, Research and Conservation Studio. She holds double master degree in urban conservation and in history and heritage management. She has been part of Reach Foundation as a project architect and has also been a volunteer at Intact Chennai chapter. Architect Pratyaksha has presented a paper titled Conserving the Past, Ameliorating the Future at the 4th International Conference on Conservation of Architectural Heritage conducted by IREC at Egypt. She is one of the contributors of the book World Heritage, Placemaking and Sustainable Tourism. Happy to have you here with us, Architect Pratyaksha. Before we could begin today's session, if any doubts regarding the session, kindly post it in the chat box, which will be addressed after the session. Over to you, Architect Pratyaksha.
Thank you so much, Sindhu. Thank you for this opportunity again. Are you all able to see me? I'll share my screen in a few moments. Thank you for your introduction about my work. And today, so I'll be talking about Art Deco architecture in general, not just architecture, but Art Deco style, the way it was used in various different things in general during that particular era, that is between the 1920s and 30s. And later on, it was carried over until the modernist architecture began. So we'll be looking at graphic design, way Art Deco was used in lifestyle materials such as decorative articles and things like that. So that will also be a part of today's presentation. And in addition to that, we'll also be looking at how Art Deco in general had an influence on the culture that prevailed during that period. So how the jazz culture basically came from abroad to India, and the kind of impact it had in movies and movie theaters, basically. That's so all these things will be a part of today's talk. So I'll just share my screen now. So I've kind of named this mapping the Art Deco culture in Madras, but we'll also be talking about how Art Deco came about in general, as in how as a style it evolved in the 1920s, but originally it started in the 1900s itself. It was started as a response to how decorative artisans were treated in various parts of Europe. But in general, it was kind of concentrated in France, Italy, and Germany. France being the kind of headquarters itself. And I mean, I'm not sure how well exposed you're all to the whole journey of how contemporary architecture, that is the transition, happened from Art Nouveau to Art Deco. So Art Nouveau was basically more of, the detail was very heavy, and the kind of importance given for detailing, as in the detailing itself was, it was not necessarily a utility based detailing. It was more like ornamentation. So there was a kind of shift in that ideology itself. So these decorative artisans who were involved in these decorative arts kind of wanted their work to be shown to the world. So that was one reason. So there was a Society of Decorative Artists which was founded in 1901, which had a very, very important influence on Art Deco style. So if you look at Art Deco buildings, there are a few very distinctive things that you will notice. That is, once you look at a building, you will kind of point out what a period it belonged to and all that, right? So, this particular style had very sleek geometry, and in certain cases, in the late 1930s, buildings were influenced by the design of ocean liners, and very oceanic kind of designs were followed. So you could actually feel that the building itself looked like an ocean liner. So those were the kind of elements that were enhanced during this particular style. So just starting off with talking about architecture itself, but if you see here in this slide, I've given images of a display card which was designed in the 1914, and another armchair which belonged to the 1930s. So yeah, so what happened was all these designs, though they started off in the 1900s and 1910, so that was the kind of timeline when Art Deco itself came into existence, and the Society of Decorative Artists wanted to kind of have an exhibition where it was internationally viewable to people from around the world. So they had planned this for 1912, but of course we know that World War I was happening, and they had to eventually postpone it. And the 1925 Paris Exposition, or that's what it was called, the Paris Exhibition for decorative arts, decorative and industrial arts. So this was hosted in Paris in 1925. And they had actually aimed to kind of present new designs, completely new designs, which were not used earlier at all. So, so if you see again, these are the few other influences which led to the Art Deco movement itself in 1925. So I'm talking about 1925 because that is when Art Deco became internationally known. So until then, it was contained within Europe. Excuse me. So it was contained in Europe itself. So I'm sorry. So there were many craft associations that were formed during this time. So starting from 1900s to the 1930s, various craft associations were developed, and there were again two sects of people two school of thoughts basically in the Art Deco movement itself. One was to kind of take forward only these sleek designs and use only new technologies in construction and all that. And there was this other school of thought where people wanted to have a blend of both traditional and modern. So they wanted to use these elements, like you see in the picture on the right, you will see elements of classical figures being used in the Art Deco, overall Art Deco building. So so there were these kind of blend of things that were happening in Art Deco style itself. So these two school of thoughts, always, though they conflicted, they kind of managed to live side by side and kind of present their ideas side by side. So this again is a very important kind of turning point in Art Deco. So this was the first landmark building in Paris, this theater, and as you can see, the elements itself, like on the building, I don't know if I'll be able to. Um, are you able to see the pointer? Is it visible?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, so if you see here, you can see these reliefs that are used. So these are again neoclassical elements. So neoclassical or classical, if you may want to say. So these classical elements basically are derived from the Greeks and the Roman buildings. So these kind of reliefs were used. And then if you see the light fixtures and the interiors, basically you can see a lot of gold plating, or in a sense these were called chrome platings, and brass being used. So all these heavy kind of materials which kind of brought out the exquisite interior designing was brought together in all these Art Deco buildings. So this is again one important turning point. So you can also see Cubist influences in Art Deco. So that was between the 1920s and 30s. That was the start of Art Deco. And again, if you look at the basic ideology behind Art Deco design, you can see that it has a heavy influence of Cubism. So you have very simple forms, you have straight lines, symmetry, curves, and all these things, which are simple geometry, but being used in a very what do you say, very ornamented or an extravagant way, which is not actually the base ideology of Cubism, but they've only used the the elements of Cubism and giving it a different kind of look altogether. So, so like I said, this was kind of the very important for Art Deco to become international. So, there are two things that we have to note here. That is, the Paris Exposition was open to the whole world. So there was not just Art Deco. Again, here various design ideologies were presented, and Art Deco became very prominent just because it was very, it was kind of modern, sleek. It was not the usual the usual kind of elements that you would be seeing. So that is why it immediately caught people's attention. And the second one was, it was very easy to adapt this kind of design because it was made of very simple elements again, and one could really blend traditional elements and modern or the Art Deco style itself, and a very localized Art Deco could be formed. So that was kind of a very important thing for Art Deco to become international. And again, another thing was, just because it was an internationally open exposition or exhibition, people from India could, kind of travel and be a part of this. And this was the time when many Indian architects had the access to all these designs from around the world. And if you closely notice, each major city, like in case of Mumbai, we have the Victorian Gothic style. And in case of Chennai, we have the Indo-Saracenic style. So they were all meant to kind of position and authority of the British on the people of India. So we were all, the people at that time were all looking for an opportunity to express themselves in a certain way. That was, not colonial. So that is when, many of these wealthy people in India had the access to be exposed to these design styles. And that's how eventually Art Deco came to India. And closely noticing Art Deco architects mostly were all Indians. In case of Mumbai as well as even in Chennai. So I'm talking more about Mumbai and Chennai just because I have experience in both these cities, Art Deco. So that's why I thought it would be best to talk about just that. So that is one. And then there was also this socio-cultural changes happening in the society. So people were more going about the city, and there was the exposure to cinema, and there were different talkies that were coming up around the city. And in case of Mumbai, if you see this jazz age itself had its own kind of expression. So the way people dressed, the furniture that was used in these pubs or these places that people went to. So all these things had, Art Deco had its influence on all these small elements that formed the overall backdrop for people to live in. So that's the kind of impact it had when it came from Paris itself to, and it was taken world over. And another, if you see, there are two contrast kind of buildings that came up again. So all these modern skyscrapers basically were a part of, most of these American backdrops. So you can find many of these in New York, Chicago, and many places. So even as small as Dayton and places like that had these skyscrapers. So Art Deco, as an architectural element, or as an architectural style, had a very different kind of view in the American landscape. And in India, again, it was a complete contrast. So, and if you see, there are so many differences that one can point out between Art Deco in Mumbai and Art Deco in Chennai or in Calcutta or in Delhi. So, all these Indian elements, if you see, we as a country have different cultures around the country. So, so each place had its own kind of the socio-cultural aspects were completely different for each of these cities. So Mumbai, if you notice, the buildings were completely different. In Chennai, the typology of buildings that came up were completely, they were more leaning towards the traditional style of building. So there are even Chettinad houses which were built in Art Deco style. So that's the kind of the ways that this particular style was adopted in any kind of the plans and the overall structure of the building itself would remain the same, but all these small elements that was Art Deco were kind of incorporated in the building to make it look modern, yet have this particular traditional or vernacular regional influence. So these are a few examples of how Art Deco was in different, was used basically in different kind of scenarios. So the first three images on top here, you'll be these are all how it was used as a graphic design element. And these are the kind of sculptures that this is particularly from Mumbai. So you can see the use of stone. So Art Deco is usually associated only to concrete, but you can see how there's the use of stone that is kind of beautifully sculpted in Mumbai. There are many other examples too, as in the use of various other materials as well. But I've just chosen a few to kind of show you the different things. Here again, this is a lift well. So you can see the use of iron being, it's not too excessive, but you can see how the very geometric elements are being incorporated in a simple lift well. You see, so that's the kind of impact, or I should say, the kind of influence that Art Deco had on these small elements that are used every day. So again, here, this is a skyscraper lamp. So you can see how much this resembles the Empire State or the Chrysler Building. So the base of this is teak. So again, there are two different kind of ideologies here. So certain one school of thought always wanted to use all the new materials that were developed in the in the society then. So so the materials such as RCC, chrome plating, and then there was plated glass. So all these things were produced at that point in time. So they wanted to use all these modern materials, but there was another kind of school of design where teak was extensively used, leather was used for furniture, and then you had stone being used. So there was a way kind of contrast of materials that were used. And in India particularly, if you see, there's a combination of brick and concrete being used. And also in this case, like in this case of Mumbai, Malad stone, which is very locally available, is being used. So, so the local conditions or the locally available materials kind of impacted the use of materials itself in the building. So that's a very important thing for between the Art Deco world over and how Art Deco developed in India. So this is the style that I was talking about. So if you look at these pictures, you can notice how it kind of resembles the ship or the ocean liner. Like immediately, just at that instant, you'll be able to see how these resemble the ocean liner. So you can see how there are nautical features being used, like here. These rounded windows are again a very, very typical, typically used element in these buildings. So you have these porthole windows. So these are a few examples of the late Art Deco style. And then, like I said, there is use of teak, and then you have this glass being used here, and leather. And then you can see how small things, small household things like a vacuum cleaner or a radio and camera, they've all been designed in a certain way where, it has that Art Deco influence quite, visibly. So again, this is the interior of this particular ship. So you can see how decorated, and it's completely opposite to what certain school of Art Deco stands for, but then you can see how that jazz era kind of reflects in the interiors that is brought out here. And again, that particular era, if you notice, there's a certain kind of um, influence in the design of automobiles. Not just I've just shown three, but there's also influences in railways and how railway engines were built. So they it kind of reflected the speed, or the word speed, and that kind of came out in just the look of the particular vehicle or automobile. So that was a kind of influence that Art Deco had in various elements that was used by people at that particular time. So I spoke about this earlier too, but just generally, you can see how there are very, I would say, episodes from day-to-day life, and then during the war, and there was this industrial revolution. So how people reacted, or the life of people was kind of depicted on these bas reliefs that were used on the buildings. And here particularly, it's an expression of a mythological character. So this is the kind of influence of the mythology in Art Deco buildings. And again, in certain buildings, like there is a particular building called Lakshmi Insurance Building in Mumbai. So that has a Lakshmi statue on top of the building. So there was a kind of blend of local beliefs in the design itself. So that's what I'm trying to say. So so this was kind of the it was kind of a way of saying to the British that colonial India is kind of coming to an end. So now we need a modern expression to the city, and this is the chance that we take to express ourselves in a certain way, and we are using Art Deco to do that. So this was not explicitly told, but through buildings and through these small things, we were able to kind of do that transition from a predominantly British skyline to a very modern Indian skyline. So briefly, deco elements and features, these kind of help you identify a certain building, if it's Art Deco or not. And again, the late Art Deco buildings that came up after the 40s, or the the late 40s and 50s, they reflect a certain, there's a very thin line between the buildings that came about in the 60s and 70s and the 40s and 50s. So you call that modern architecture, but the modern architecture that came up, or the early modern architecture that came up, had great influence of these Art Deco buildings. So how do you identify is these modern buildings have very heavy kind of elements being used, but whereas in Art Deco it was very light, it was breezy, there was a sense of streamlining that was there. So that's what helps you kind of differentiate between Art Deco and early modern architecture. And again, one more important thing is how graphic design, or name boards and fonts were being used on these buildings. Or it was not just as name boards or anything. They were also kind of carved out in stone, and there was a whole lot of experimentation of a material in a certain way being that was happening during this time. So that kind of led to various different you have a whole palette of just fonts and graphics that came about during this period. So that is there. And so I'll just come out of this presentation for a minute, and I just want to show you a list of things basically. Just a second. So are you able to see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So these are this is a kind of exercise that we did earlier last year. So I've kind of listed the elements or the details that go about in these Art Deco buildings, and you have a pictorial representation. So this I thought this would be easy for you to understand. So you can see how streamlining is being used here. Like you can see how balconies are curved, and then you have the central tower, sort of watchtower sort of a thing happening. So there was this is one important element in the buildings that came about in the 1930s. And then you have the frozen fountain kind of detailing that happens. All these were mostly made out of concrete. So they were either carved out of concrete, or they were a grill pattern that was made out of it was a combination of wood and plated glass, or it was a combination of metal and plated glass. So there's a whole combination of materials that work together to bring out all these elements typically. And then there is this tropical imagery. Tropical imagery, basically, you can find this a lot in buildings around Mumbai. But there are a few examples for Chennai as well. I'll come to it later on, but I don't think these buildings exist anymore. So again, here, if you see, the tropical influence basically has the sunburst, and then you have all these tropical elements coming into picture. So both these images are bas reliefs. So they are made out of stucco, or concrete, or cement basically. And you can see how waves are being used, and then you have these soft curves. So these kind of this reflects the sun. So these kind of reflect the very tropical elements that one can find in any tropical scenario. So both Mumbai and Chennai being tropical regions, these imageries were kind of made to be very relatable. So that is the reason these elements were being used. So here again, you can see this particular building. It's called the seashell building, and you can see how there's a seashell that kind of symbolizes the name of the building itself. And then there's a whole Baroque style going on here, but you can see how the Art Deco element has kind of blended with the Baroque style. So that's the beauty of Art Deco as a style itself. It has many there's a whole lot of styles being brought together to form a certain style. Sometimes it's kind of contradictory styles coming together, but mostly it kind of blends together and gives a whole new design itself. So this I spoke about earlier. So mythological images being used as sculptures or figurines on the building. And again, here you have this watchtower kind of a thing that is there along the stairwell. So those fall under the nautical design that I was talking about in the streamline buildings. And then this is the use of zigzag or the ziggurats. So ziggurat, like it was a part of the um, Mesopotamian rule, and then after that there was also Egyptian influences in these buildings. So there's a whole lot of early architecture coming to picture again in form of small elements. So that is there, and then this is the kind of curvature that I was showing you earlier in streamlining. So this particular element is called the eyebrow. So this is nothing but the sunshade itself, but then these were differentiated through colors. So colors also played a major role in the Art Deco buildings. So I'm just running through. So again, grill patterns are played a very important role. Again, you can see how tropical influences are there in this particular grill pattern, and then use of a certain kind of lettering or a certain kind of typography played an important role in identifying the building itself. So there was one image which he wanted to share, but then I don't know if it is there. So yeah, so here if you see how you can see how lettering itself is kind of done using different materials. So like I said, there was a lot of experimentation going on. So you can see how this particular United building, this is the United India Assurance building. So you can see how the United is kind of carved out of stone here. And then there's plaster work, metal being used. So these are broadly the kind of elements and the materials and the features that were used in Art Deco buildings itself. So I'll go back to the presentation now. Great. Okay. So coming to Art Deco Madras, these are the kind of areas that we identified so far, which have Art Deco, out of which I think personally Gandhinagar, Adyar has a lot of Art Deco bungalows. But to start with, there's a distinct, kind of difference in the typology of buildings that one can find in Mumbai or elsewhere as compared to Chennai. So in Chennai, you can find a lot of bungalows, and of course, there are many commercial establishments and offices which follow the Art Deco style, and you also have these movie theaters. But I think there are very few left anymore. So apart from that, there's a lot of very, what do you say, G+1, G+2 bungalows with a lot of space around. So that's the kind of typology that one can find in, most part of Chennai. And the other kind of contrasting typology of housing that we can find is the ones in Georgetown, Roypuram area, where you have these wall-to-wall construction, and yet you have a great deal of Art Deco elements being used on the facade of the building. So this again is one very unique typology that we find in Madras. So we can these clock tower. These are the only 4 clock towers I think that exist around the city, and I'd love to know if there are more, and if you guys come across, you can share it with me, of course. But these are the ones I've come across so far. And again, these are the bungalows that I was talking about. So this is the typical kind of bungalow that we find in Chennai. And okay, so there's a whole what do you say, a palette of buildings that is there on the screen. So the first 2 images here. So these sorry, 1 second. Okay, these 2 buildings are corner buildings, and you can see this is a very commercial residential kind of a building, and this one is a very, very prominent building in Georgetown. And again, this one is on NSE Bose Road, so you can see how there's a line of Art Deco buildings. You can see here how there's whole lot of traditional elements, like you have these jarokas being used, these small brackets being used. They all have these very Indian, typical Indian characteristics going on, and yet you have this kind of symmetry here, and those major elements are still Art Deco elements, but you have these small touch of Indian influences or Indian elements being used in these buildings. So these here there's a clock placed on top. So this again becomes a very important region. Here you can see this is a particular very typical nautical feature. Here there is a clock. There's a similar building in Mumbai, and like I was telling, there's a Lakshmi statue that stands there. So that kind of symbolizes Lakshmi Insurance building. So again, here it's a very commercial building. This I think is a commercial residential, and then you have this theater again in Georgetown, Broadway. So this again is a palette of theaters that we can find. So this is not, I haven't stuck to only Chennai, so that there are a whole bunch of Art Deco buildings that we can find down south as well. So these 2, Tirumangalam I think is close to Madurai, I'm not sure, but this is from Madurai, again Annamalai Theatre, and Casino Theatre. So this facade does not exist anymore. There's a whole new look being given to the Casino Theatre right now. So these are a few buildings. So you can see the interiors and the use of elements here. You can see the seashell and the kind of colors that were used, and then these small elements, brackets, and all these things that were a part of that went into the design of these buildings. So each, the detail goes to, even the tiniest element was kind of designed with care to go with the overall, building itself. So again, this is a theater from Madurai. So these are from the streets of Triplicane. So in certain buildings, this helps you find kind of a conclusion when the building was built. So here you can see how the year of construction is put out. And then you can see all these sunburst, and then this swastik kind of reminds you of the Indian influence. And then you can also see the kind of construction, like just from outside you can say that this is a very traditional kind of planning that is being used. But even in that traditional plan, you can see how subtly there's a touch of Art Deco being used in many of these buildings. So there are also such buildings in Mylapore, T Nagar. T Nagar has more of bungalows, but you can see Mylapore having the same kind of construction, just like Triplicane. So that is there, and then these two are kind of I should say I was very excited when I came across both these buildings. So this particular illustration is of the Darwin entrance to the Darwin gate to the zoo. It does not exist anymore. Again, this Oceanic hotel, you can see how various elements of the ocean itself is being used to kind of bring this particular entrance, to make it appealing basically. So both these buildings do not exist at the moment. So this was kind of a very exciting find. So both these are talked about in detail on I think Hindu has covered it in many of its Madras series, and you can also find information from Sriram sir's blog. Again, there are a lot of Art Deco buildings that are being explained to great detail there. So in case you want to read more about this, you can. Again, this one is Dasa Prakash Hotel. So these images, I should say, I should give credits to Tarika for handing me these images. This hotel has, it has been around for a long time, but in 2010 it was brought down. But just look at the detailing that is put into this particular building. So you can find different textures being used on the on various elements. You can see different materials being used of different materials, basically, like use of teak here. How teak itself is given, a kind of tone to it to kind of enhance the elements that come one over the other, and then the use of concrete to bring about such beautiful elements. So this is one marvelous Art Deco building that we lost, sadly. So if it's okay, can I take some time to show more pictures of the hotel? Sindhu?
Yes, you can.
Yes. Yes, actually.
Okay. Okay. So again, okay, so we've been talking about nautical features, and also you can see how there's the circular window here, which is, is it? Right. Okay, so here you can see this concrete grill work that is there, and then you can see the iron grill work that is there, and these are all very typical features that any Art Deco building will have. Again, here you can find this kind of grill work in any parapet wall that belong to this period. So this is the reception area that I showed earlier. So don't just look here, but look beyond that. You can see all these, furnishing that was used. So this one, and then details down here. So you can see the tones of brown that this one image has. So there's a certain sense of detailing that is gone into all these elements. So this is the board next to the lift well, I suppose. So you can see again here there are different tones of brown that is brought about to give enhance this particular board. And here again, I'll just zoom into. You can see this rough concrete work, and then there's a combination of rough and smooth concrete work. You can see how beautifully these elements are being used. There's a sea waves being used. These rounds kind of expressing the nautical features. And then you have this whole, um, you know, whole Chinese kind of roof that is going about here, which has no connection to the whole overall building, but yet it kind of blends with the whole, setup. And if you carefully notice, there's also a great importance given to the colors being used. You can see how colors have been used only on the elements to kind of enhance the details itself. So that's also a very typical Art Deco feature or style or whatever you want to call it. So this again, and even this element is nautical here. These kind of elements, the vertical, so there is always a sense of verticality as well as horizontality when it comes to Art Deco buildings. So that's a very important I should say design feature that goes into Art Deco buildings. One thing is because most of these buildings were not very tall in case of India. So even if there was one vertical element to kind of give that imposing effect, there was this symmetrical horizontal element that happened on either side of that particular vertical element. So that kind of balanced the overall elevation itself. So that is a very important feature that you could look for when you're looking for or identifying or analyzing an Art Deco building. So here again, like I was saying, there are Indian influences in these buildings. Here again, you can see there's a Indian god and goddess sculpture there. So these again, this is for this particular building. So we here it was not done, to symbolize or anything, but it was more to kind of give. It was more like a detailing basically. So in many cases, it was kind of symbolically talking about the building's name or the building's use when it was commercial or when it was kind of a building that handled money. Then it had a Lakshmi statue on top of it. So all these beliefs and these traditions came together in form of design. So that's also a very great feature, or I would say a very great design aspect in Art Deco design. So here again, you can see how the various levels and the various elements are being highlighted both by color. So you can see how the overall it's a blank slate basically. It has a very white kind of main color is only white, and you have all these elements popping up in various colors. So that's a very unique Art Deco feature. And these colors used were also mostly, all these tropical colors were used. So blues, yellows, greens. These are the major colors that were used in these buildings. So here again, you can see the concrete jali work or the concrete grill work. So here the grill work with the combination of, I think this is wood, I'm not sure, but yeah, mostly this was either wood, teak in many cases, or it was in concrete. So you can see there's a combination of materials being used in this is all of one particular building. It's not even in two different buildings, or I'm showing you images of one particular building, and you can see how various elements have come together and they blend so well. So this was the rooftop performance area, and you can see the pillar there. Sure. So, so you can see this, the capital detailing, and then you can see the false ceiling detailing. And the detailing was not just on the face of the ceiling, but it was also on the folds of the ceiling. So, so there was not one corner that was left free. So that is the beauty of it. There was detailing done to the tiniest possible way. So here, if you notice, there's also tile work done. So this again is a very typical Art Deco feature. The flooring or any kind of detailing such as this either had this mosaic work, or there was also terrazzo being used. So terrazzo is a particular style where concrete was the base and marble bits were poured in, and that was kind of applied or poured on the floor to to lay the flooring, and then it was polished later on. So terrazzo again was not only constrained to flooring; it was also used on walls. It was also used on pillars. Like in this case, it's being used on the pillars. Here again on the wall. So you can see how we call it as mosaic floors as well when it in the form of, when you lay it in the form of tiles. When you lay it in the form of a liquid being poured or a semi-solid being poured and then polished, then that process was called terrazzo. So the grill work again here, and then this particular kind of flanked stairway on either side. This was again a very typical feature of the ocean liner. So there are elements of travel and elements of the sea, tropical, all these things being used in this building, and rightly so, because this was meant for travelers. This was meant for people who wanted a lodging and breakfast facility. So the elements kind of reflected the use of the building itself. So you can see how there's a very grill type of sunshade being used, and then you can see the grill work here, and then the mosaic pattern again. And again, this particular element. This is the restaurant area, and then you can see Art Deco being used even in the furnishing that was there in the rooms. So um, the door frame, you can see how the design, the number, and then there's a slot for the room card to go in. The kind of electrical appliances being used. This is a very very favorite place of mine. So this is the playground of the Saprakasha play area basically. So you can see how, there's only concrete and a combination of concrete and mosaic, and there's a whole play area that has been designed with only these materials. So you can see the slide that's made out of concrete. So again, a few other images. Okay. So I'll just go back to the presentation now. So this building, again, this is a very typical example of streamline building. So the Madras Flying Club, this building again was demolished recently, I think in 2019, I'm not sure. I think it's 2019. So this building again is a very, very important example of Art Deco in streamline style. And not just that, but historically, again, this was among the first flying clubs in India. So it's an important milestone in the overall history as such. So this is now the club still exists, but the building doesn't. So this was built in 1929. So this club again functions out of Trichy right now. And so for the graphic design part of it, you can see how there's a movie strip, of the movie itself in two different languages. As in, there's a Tamil expression as well as the English expression, and you have this use of Art Deco typography going on in this particular, graphic. And then here, this is a magazine. So you can see how, here there's an Art Deco building itself in the backdrop. So these are the kind of ways that the style itself influenced. So the next slide is from my personal heritage. So this was handed on from my grandmother to me. So you can see how in silverware, how Art Deco elements are being used. So, you can kind of identify with a few elements that a certain article or a certain thing belong to this particular style. So you can see the geometry in which this particular article has been designed, and then the kind of etching that has been done on the article itself to it was like I said, Art Deco had its influence not just in building or in art or anything, or in the graphic design, or in movies. It had its influence in so many aspects of our day-to-day household itself. So that was the beauty of art, and I think that was what was aimed. As a style, the aim was to kind of make things more sleek, more accessible, mass production being kept in mind. So that was the ideology of Art Deco being used. But eventually, there was a kind of influence of various things that brought Art Deco to India and made it into a very Indianized Art Deco style. So here again, we saw how I explained how there are few buildings that we've lost, or not just few, but there are so many around the city which we've been losing over a period of time. So that's when it's important for us to kind of document all these buildings and to understand all these ideologies that went into the design of these buildings, and who are the architects, what are the kind of life that people lived, and what are the things that they used, what is the people's association with the building itself. So all these things can be answered only when we delve into the topic. So that's what I think we have been, or I have been trying to do through Art Deco Madras. So my first exposure to Art Deco itself was Art Deco Mumbai Trust. So this was the kind of thing that that I have in mind for Art Deco Madras. So to have a kind of visual repository of all that is Art Deco. So this is the kind of things you can maybe later on you could kind of go into Art Deco Mumbai and read more on all these various topics. But basically Art Deco with Art Deco Madras, I want to do what we've done here. So we've been at Art Deco Mumbai, we've been able to kind of document a lot of buildings in various different neighborhoods of the city. And we've also been able to delve into a research about the various architects who were involved, and then the various typologies of buildings that came about in that certain era. So all these things we were able to do, and eventually we were also able to bring out the UNESCO nomination for Victorian Gothic and Art Deco architecture. I would like to take this opportunity to kind of say that I think that kind of model is required for Madras, not just for Art Deco buildings, but for heritage as a whole. I think there is a disconnect between the stakeholders, and the way we look at heritage itself is, it's completely different. That sense of ownership, that sense of participation in the overall heritage process is what I think would help us achieve something. So these are the things as a vision. I think I have these for Art Deco Madras. So so yeah, thank you guys for giving me this time.
Thank you so much. Yes, Pratyaksha. I mean, it's a great insight on Art Deco to us, okay? Because as you said, it's a fine line of difference between Art Nouveau and the early modern architecture. I mean, so not a lot of limelight was actually thrown on Art Deco. I mean, probably your presentation really guided us to look into the details, because this is not that we've been focusing, especially talking about buildings in Madras. I mean, this is probably Dasaprakash should have been a hotel that we would have passed a number of times. Paris Corner, yes. Probably most of our students, I mean, people would have been to Paris, but probably not looked into the building in the way that we're supposed to perceive it. So the presentation by you was seriously, I mean, it gave us a lot of insight on the details, probably the ornamentations in it, the ornamentations which had a particular typology to it. So it all helped us a lot. And we'd like to thank you, because it's almost midnight for you over there. So you've spent all your time for us, and thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. On that note, I would also want to, mention that there are a few buildings which I visited for research, and then these residents have their own personal stories and their association with the building. So that kind of gives us the leverage to really fight for the protection of the building if there is some help from the government, or I think as individuals or as emerging professionals, we have that power to bring about some change in the conservation forum. That's what I think. And if there's anyone who's interested to talk about Art Deco or do more research or contribute to the cause, you're always welcome. My details are on your screen, so you can make a note and get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the management, I'd like to thank you for spending your time with us.